Okay, I'm going to show you how to link your gradebook on Schoology to PowerSchool. So when you have your assignments, you have to make sure that they're graded assignments and that you've assigned categories to them. So that's the most important thing to start with. But after you have your assignments set up and you're grading them, then when you go to your gradebook, then this one always takes a long time to load because it loads up all your assignments and who has done them and what their scores are. So there's a lot of things going on and it takes a minute. So after it loads, it has all of the assignments that you've done and it has the scores for kids that have submitted the assignments. If there's a little icon, that means it's submitted but still needs to be graded. So if you scroll to the right, then it will have all your assignments. If you keep scrolling, eventually it will have to load the other assignments, but it will still do that. So then you can go back to all of the assignments that you have had, and you can look at all the students on the side and what their grades are. And you will need to sync changes to PowerSchool after you have it set up to connect to PowerSchool. So at first, it won't sync and there will be error messages because you need to connect your categories to PowerSchool. So I'll show you how to do that. So you scroll down to the PowerSchool tab on Schoology. So not separately, needs to be through Schoology to connect your categories. So then it will load. First, it will have like all your sync logs, and then you need to click the configuration button to sync your categories to the PowerSchool categories. So you find your category that you have made for Schoology for the ones that you've been using for your assignments, and then you just line them up with your PowerSchool categories. So you might have more categories than just these ones. I deleted my other categories to make it more in sync with each other. So you just choose one and you add it, and then you make sure that they're all lined up. It's easiest if they have the same name. And then click Save Changes. And then that will sync your PowerSchool categories to your Schoology categories. So that is a very important first step. Otherwise, your Schoology assignments will not be sent to your PowerSchool gradebook. So after you have configured this, you should only have to do this one time just to make sure your categories are connected. Then you can go back to the gradebook. And inside the gradebook, there will be a button. Oh, we gotta wait for it to load. Always takes a little bit of time. So right in this area, there's a button that looks like a refresh button. If you hover over it, it'll tell you what that is. It's to sync the changes to PowerSchool. So you have to click that button for it to sync them. It's going to turn like a light gray while it's like loading that you did that. Then you can click on the View Sync Status Log. It takes a while to resync all the assignments, but when you sync them, that's how it reloads them into PowerSchool. It's like you're sending your Schoology assignments over to PowerSchool by clicking this button. So if you don't refresh it or resync it regularly, then it won't send your new assignments to PowerSchool. So you have to come back here regularly and resync them so that your new assignments get sent to PowerSchool too. So you can click the View Sync Status Log to see what has been sent and if there's any errors with some assignments. If there are no errors, then it just says successful. If you want to see what's happening right now and what point it's at, you can click the Live Sync button. And this always takes a minute to load also. But if you want to see the live sync, it's just like telling you what's happening right now as it's loading. It still takes a while for it to sync. So this is what's happening right now. Okay. And then it has a bunch of different pages if you want to see it as it's going. This is the place you would come if you needed to check errors, or if something's not syncing, you would check here and see what's going on. If it's not syncing and there's an error, you can hover over it and it should tell you what the error is. A lot of times it's because your category is not synced, or you need to change the category for the assignment. So this is the sync log and this is the sync button. So you'll need to come back into your gradebook and sync it regularly. So I have my grades set to the 1, 2, 3, 4 system. The default is percents. So if you go to grade setup, this is how you change that. So where it says gradebook scale, you want to click the elementary standards grade scale to change it to the 1, 2, 3, 4 system, which is what the students are familiar with and what the parents are familiar with. This is also the system we use for like our report cards, so that it just makes it a little bit easier if you change it to that. And here's some other settings if you want to play with those. They are in the gradebook setup as well. Also, if you wanted to weight certain categories and have different categories worth more than other categories, all sorts of complicated settings in this section. Okay, so that's pretty much the gist of it. So if you follow those steps, then it should work. Now we'll go to PowerSchool and I'll show you where those assignments show up. So I'll go to a new tab and go to PowerSchool. And I gotta sign in. Okay, so if you go to Power Teacher, Home, and Power Teacher Pro, okay, this takes you to all the assignments. So it syncs in all the assignments of the things that I have graded. So if I haven't graded some people's assignments, theirs won't come up yet. Like for instance, these are some things that I haven't finished grading yet, so it only shows the ones that I finished grading. So if you go through, it has all the assignments that you have done, and all your future assignments will also be logged if you've synced it. So if you click on one of these, it has all of the grades that you had input into Schoology. It just syncs them over to this category, even if it's a self-grading assignment. But you have to click the sync button in Schoology for them to show up.